So today, we're going to talk about a single bird, the chakor. But get this isn't just any bird. It's a creature with two completely opposite identities. It's a total paradox, and it actually reveals something really profound about how a culture sees the world, from its highest, most beautiful ideals to its most practical, down-to-earth warnings.
And that brings us to the big question, right? The real puzzle isn't about which story is true, it's why. Why would a culture tell two completely contradictory stories about the very same bird? One story tells us to look up at the sky and dream, while the other basically screams at us to keep our feet planted firmly on the ground. How can both of these possibly exist together?
So on one side, you've got the chakor as this poetic, idealistic lover of the moon, who literally lives on moonbeams and represents eternal, unrequited love. And on the other side, a naive, kind of greedy creature of the earth who ditches its home for a taste of grain and ends up as a victim of a terrible deception. It's night and day. Let's start with the one the poets absolutely loved.
All right, let's dive into that first identity, the lover of the moon. This is the chakor that has inspired poets and romantics for, well, centuries. This bird isn't just a bird. It's an icon. It's a symbol of an ideal that exists way beyond the physical world.
So the mythology goes that this chakor is so head over heels in love with the moon, a totally one-sided affair by the way, that it survives by eating nothing but moonbeams. Now obviously a bird can't literally live on light, so what's really going on here?
And that's the key. This was never about physical food. It's a powerful metaphor for nourishing the soul. The chakor becomes the symbol for a lover who doesn't need anything else but a glimpse of their beloved to feel whole. It's the ultimate symbol of selfless and, yeah, kind of hopeless love.
What's really wild is that this idea wasn't just for dreamy poems. This symbol shows up even in a really grounded, realistic Sanskrit play called Mrichakatika, a story packed with con men, gamblers, and gritty politics. This just goes to show you how deep this idea ran in the culture. Everybody got it, not just the poets.
Okay, now I want you to hold on to that idealized romantic image, because we're about to do a complete 180. Let's talk about the other chakor. This one comes from a folktale, and it's not a creature of the sky. It's a creature of the harsh, cold realities of the earth.
Yeah, this story literally takes that poetic bird we just met, yanks it right out of the sky, and slams it down into the dirt. Suddenly, its problems aren't about unrequited love and moonbeams. They're about temptation, greed, and just trying to survive.
So the story is a classic cautionary tale. It goes something like this. A perfectly happy chakor hears about some amazing, delicious grain in a farm nearby. It gets tempted, leaves its home, and just pigs out for 7 days straight. But when it finally gets back, a rabbit has moved in. They start fighting, can't figure it out, so they go looking for justice from a supposedly wise, holy man, who just so happens to be a cat. And, well, the cat does what cats do. It kills them and eats them both. The end.
I mean, the villain here is a masterpiece. An ascetic cat pretending to meditate by a river with prayer beads and everything. It's the perfect disguise. It's the literal definition of a wolf in sheep's clothing, using the appearance of justice and piety just to lure in its next meal.
Now on the surface, the moral seems pretty simple, right? Don't fight among yourselves or some outsider is going to take advantage of you. It's a straightforward, practical lesson. But is that really all there is to it?
I think the story is actually warning us about something a little deeper. It's saying that our internal fights, our little arguments, they're what make us vulnerable. The real danger isn't just the fight itself, it's the predator that's always waiting in the wings, disguised as a friend, just ready to exploit our division for its own gain.
So, now we have our two chakors. We have the idealistic, moon-obsessed lover, and we have the naive, greedy victim. How in the world do we make sense of these two polar opposites existing in the same culture?
Well, here's the crucial point. The stories aren't actually meant to contradict each other. They're complementary. They're two sides of the same coin, and together they give us a really complete picture of the human condition.
Let's break it down. The moon-loving chakor, that one exists in the sky, right? It's all about our aspirations, our ideals, what we should strive to become. But the grain-eating chakor, it's from the earth. It's a practical, pragmatic warning about what we need to avoid doing, and it ends tragically. You've got idealism on one side and cold, hard realism on the other.
To put it really simply, one story inspires us to dream big, to reach for the moon.
The other one reminds us to watch our step while we're doing it. It warns us about the very real dangers of greed, naivety, and fighting. And it seems like any healthy culture needs both of those messages to survive and thrive.
But hang on, there's one last piece to this puzzle, and it's a fascinating thread that ties both of these opposite stories together in a really elegant way, and it all has to do with food.
When you look really closely, you realize that in both stories, the Chakor's entire identity and its final fate is defined by what it chooses to eat. In these tales, food literally is character.
Think about it. The first Chakor eats moonbeams. It's an immaterial, idealistic, almost impossible food. And that choice is what turns it into an immortal symbol of love. The second Chakor abandons its normal food for a new material taste, grain. And that choice leads it directly to a very real, very physical death. And that really just leaves us with one final thought, turning that metaphor back on ourselves. What are we consuming in our own lives? I'm talking about the ideas we let in, the desires we chase, the relationships we feed. Are we being nourished by the pursuit of an ideal, even one we can never fully reach? Or does our hunger for some new, tangible pleasure lead us straight into a trap? The stories don't give us the answer, but they pose the question beautifully, leaving it up to us to find our own balance between the sky and the earth.